So did you just click on this video because you thought that all homeschoolers are socially awkward Christians? This is a collaboration hosted by Wendy from Plan Prep Pray. She's got an amazing channel, so you have to totally check that out, as well as a playlist down below of a ton of other moms sharing with you some homeschool myths and debunking them. So we're gonna break this myth down right now, and we're gonna start with, are homeschoolers socially awkward? My name is Leilani. I am a former public and private school teacher. I also do homeschool evaluations in the state of Florida. I have 4 beautiful children and 1 that has special needs. So first, are homeschoolers socially awkward? Now, this is a pretty popular debate because some people really do think they're socially awkward, and some people will argue with you and say that they aren't. Let's just look at some statistics and facts, why don't we? There's a book called The Hurried Child. I'm gonna go ahead and stick a link down below to that book because that's one of those books that they say every homeschool mom should have in their library. Another book is Homegrown Kids by Dorothy and Raymond Moore. Dr. Raymond Moore studied human development and socialization among homeschoolers, so Dr. Moore knows their stuff. Dr. Moore said, "The idea that children need to be around many other youngsters in order to be socialized is perhaps the most dangerous and extravagant myth in education and child rearing." Ooh, quiz. Who do you think is more social? A child who spends a large amount of time around a variety of different age groups, or a child who is locked in a room for 6 hours with 30 other people the same exact age as her, and 1 adult. He analyzed over 8,000 childhood studies and concluded that it is best for a child to be socialized by their parents and not by their peers. And here's why. When you have a classroom of 20 to 30 kids, peer pressure arises. When there's peer pressure, you have rivalry, you have ridicule, and competition. Not necessarily a healthy environment. However, on the other hand, when you are raised with parents and siblings, you will develop self-awareness, self-confidence, self-worth, because you feel like you belong to a part of a tribe, a family, and that is a healthy environment. There's also another controlled study in July of 2000, and of course, I'm going to stick a link to all of these studies down below in the description box, so please make sure and check those out. But there was a study in the year 2000 comparing children's social skills, whether they're homeschooled or not homeschooled. A trained counselor observed the behaviors of all the children and came to some conclusions without knowing whether they're homeschooled or not. And it ended up showing that children that were homeschooled were well adjusted and had fewer behavioral problems, while the kids that were not homeschooled had more behavior problems. There was a similar study in 1992 where some homeschoolers and non-homeschoolers were asked to complete some puzzles and solve some problems. In the end, the non-homeschoolers tended to be more aggressive and competitive and just not so nice to each other, while the homeschoolers were friendly, wanting to work together as a team, and just were well-rounded and nice. And there's another study with the Vinland Adaptive Behavior Scale, which actually measures social development skills. Ironically, the homeschoolers did better in the areas of communication, socialization, social skills, and daily living skills. Why do I need to go on? I'm gonna stick a link that actually does that for you, so you can check that link down there below. However many facts and professional opinions and studies that have been done, there are still people questioning whether homeschoolers are socially awkward. For example, a survey given to public school superintendents said 92% of them thought that homeschoolers did not receive adequate socialization experience. The American Psychological Association published, "Homeschoolers, they may experience difficulty entering mainstream life and may not grow up to be complete people if taught at home." A parent survey was done, and 61% of the parents said that they thought homeschool students were not socialized, and one of them referred to them as socially handicapped. Oh, and remember Dr. Elizabeth Bartholet, the Harvard professor that wrote an article just recently about how we should probably not homeschool our kids, and she's striving to make that a reality. She said, and I quote, "Some homeschooling parents are extreme religious idealists who live in near total isolation. Basically, homeschool kids are weird and isolated. And yes, I'll admit, some homeschoolers are socially awkward and isolated, but you know what? So are some public school kids and private school kids and adults, for that fact. Here are my thoughts. Parents know what's best for their kids. And if they feel like their kids are going to be socially isolated or act socially awkward, they're going to strive to make that not an option. There are lots of opportunities that they can do. They can get involved with church or scouting or a sports team, dance, gymnastics, a choir. Not to mention there are tons and tons of co-oping opportunities. And then you get to go on play dates with those friends. I know the YMCA has activities that kids can be involved with, including open gym. The opportunities are endless. In fact, I personally think that my kids have more friends and are more social than most public school kids. Look, I was a public school teacher and I went through the public school system. And really, the public school system is not a realistic portrayal of what real life is like. Do you know anybody who has a job that's similar to that kind of setting? And if they do they enjoy that job? When I resigned from being a teacher, first of all, being a teacher was nothing like going through that public school system as a student. However, when I did resign from that teaching position and stepped out into the real world, I feel like my eyes were opened. And as a parent of homeschoolers, I want my kids to experience what reality is like. And you are totally free to leave some comments in the description box below if you disagree with me. But that's my opinion. Now, what about Christianity? All right, so let's go back to Dr. Elizabeth Bartholet, the Harvard professor that wrote that article that I am gonna stick a link down below in the description box. She actually warns against the Christian faith because she's concerned that parents are indoctrinating their kids. Christianity, according to her, is a dangerous religion because Jesus was so scary. Okay, so I looked up the statistics and I found that the survey that was taken, of course not every homeschooler in America, because there's like 2 million homeschoolers in America, but of the survey that they took, only 66% were Christian, 25% were secular, and the rest, they were of different denominations other than Christianity, such as Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, etc. And in 2012, there was a national homeschool education survey that went out, and it said that only 64% of the parents homeschooled for religious reasons, 77% for moral reasons, and 91% because of the public school environment. So I hope this was helpful. If you don't believe me, you need to go out there and meet some homeschool kids and decide for yourself. Or check out some of these YouTube channels because we'll talk about how like social our kids are. My kids, I can tell you right now, if they don't have their they see their friends every day, almost. Those kids are more social than I was in middle school. I was a hermit in middle school. Oh, and I'm gonna stick some videos around my face if you are interested in seeing some of my other videos. If you like this channel, make sure to subscribe. It was such a joy having you join us on this journey. And if you do subscribe, you'll get to see some of our other fun stuff that we do, as well as my daughter's journey who has Down syndrome. I'll put some pictures around my face right now. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.